TV soap new and spoilers say that will Martin face arrest for Kenneth's death in Beyond the Gates? In the gripping drama Beyond the Gates, the specter of past violence looms large over the life of Martin Ellis, a man whose quiet existence is shattered by the revelation of a death tied to his turbulent history. The show, known for its intricate storytelling and emotionally charged narratives, has captivated audiences with its exploration of morality, guilt, and the long-reaching consequences of one's actions. At the heart of this narrative storm lies a pivotal question: will Martin be arrested for the death of Kenneth, a figure from his past whose demise has sent shockwaves through the storyline? To unravel this, we must dive deep into the events of the show, dissect the motivations of its characters, and explore the legal and moral implications of Martin's actions. This analysis, spanning over 2,000 words, will paint a vivid picture of the dramatic tension at play and speculate on the potential outcomes for Martin Ellis. The shocking revelation. Kenneth's death. The moment Bill, a weathered detective with a knack for uncovering buried truths, presents Martin with a photograph of Kenneth's lifeless body, the air grows thick with dread. The image is not just a snapshot of death but a portal to a past Martin has fought to bury. His reaction, eyes wide, breath caught in his throat, speaks volumes about the weight of this moment. Kenneth, a man whose presence in Martin's life was marked by violence and hatred, is no longer a living threat. Yet, his death does not bring relief but rather a new kind of terror, the fear of exposure, of consequences, of the law catching up to a man who has already paid a heavy emotional toll. Martin's journey home after this revelation is a study in torment. The camera lingers on his tense shoulders, the way his hands grip the steering wheel, and the distant look in his eyes as he navigates the familiar streets of his neighborhood. It's a silent scream, a man wrestling with ghosts that refuse to stay buried. When he finally arrives home, the sanctuary of his domestic life with his husband, Smitty, becomes the stage for a confession that lays bare the raw wounds of his past. This scene, heavy with emotional gravitas, sets the stage for the audience to understand the full scope of what transpired 2 years ago, a moment that would forever alter Martin's life. The flashbacks. A violent encounter on a lonely road through a series of expertly crafted flashbacks, Beyond the Gates unveils the harrowing incident that binds Martin to Kenneth and his brother. The scene is set on a desolate stretch of road, where Martin and his grandfather, Vernon, find themselves stranded with a flat tire. The sun is dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows that seem to foreshadow the darkness about to unfold. The arrival of Kenneth and his brother, two figures cloaked in menace, transforms a routine inconvenience into a life-altering confrontation. The brothers, emboldened by a sense of entitlement and fueled by prejudice, approach Martin and Vernon with malicious intent. Kenneth, the more vocal of the two, hurls racist slurs that cut through the air like knives. The words are not just insults but weapons, designed to degrade and dehumanize. Vernon, an elderly man with a quiet dignity, becomes a target of their aggression, and Martin, fiercely protective, steps into the fray. What begins as an attempt to rob the stranded pair escalates into a brutal struggle for survival. In the chaos, Martin's instincts take over. The fight is visceral, fists flying, bodies colliding, the sound of grunts and shouts mingling with the crunch of gravel underfoot. Martin, driven by a primal need to protect his grandfather, overpowers Kenneth's brother. In a moment of desperate ferocity, he delivers a fatal blow, ending the man's life. The camera captures the horror in Martin's eyes as he realizes what he's done, his hands trembling as the reality of death sinks in. Kenneth, meanwhile, is not spared. Martin's rage, fueled by the racial vitriol and the threat to his grandfather, leaves Kenneth's face disfigured, a permanent mark of the encounter. This flashback sequence is a masterclass in storytelling, blending raw emotion with stark realism. The show does not shy away from the brutality of the moment, nor does it gloss over the moral ambiguity. Was Martin's response justified, a necessary act of self-defense? Or did he cross a line, letting anger and fear drive him to commit an act that would haunt him? These questions linger as the narrative returns to the present, where Kenneth's death reopens old wounds and raises new stakes. The confession, Martin's truth to Smitty back in the present. Martin's confession to Smitty is a pivotal moment that humanizes him and deepens the audience's understanding of his character. The scene is intimate, set in the soft glow of their living room, where the warmth of their shared life contrasts sharply with the darkness of Martin's story. Smitty, portrayed with a quiet strength, listens as Martin unravels the tale of that fateful night. His voice trembles, not just with fear of legal repercussions but with the weight of guilt and regret. He speaks of the flat tire, the racist taunts, the escalation, and the irreversible choices made in the heat of the moment. Smitty's reaction is a blend of shock, empathy, and fear. He understands the context, the systemic racism that framed the encounter, the instinct to protect a loved one, but he also recognizes the gravity of what Martin has done. The dialogue between them is raw and unfiltered, a testament to their trust and love, yet underscored by the looming threat of consequences. Smitty asks the question that hangs over the entire narrative: what happens now? It's a question that resonates with viewers, pulling them into the speculative heart of the story. The legal implications: could Martin be arrested? The central question: will Martin be arrested for Kenneth's death? Requires us to consider both the legal and narrative dimensions of Beyond the Gates. Legally, the case is complex. The death of Kenneth's brother 2 years ago, though tied to Martin's actions, occurred in the context of self-defense. Martin and Vernon were victims of an attempted robbery, and Kenneth's use of racist language and physical aggression could support a claim that Martin acted to protect himself and his grandfather. However, the severity of the outcome, death and disfigurement, complicates the self-defense argument. A prosecutor could argue that Martin used excessive force, particularly in disfiguring Kenneth, which might not be seen as proportionate to the threat. Moreover, Kenneth's recent death adds a new layer of suspicion. The show has not yet revealed the cause of Kenneth's death, leaving viewers to speculate whether it was natural, accidental, or the result of foul play. If Kenneth's death is linked to Martin, perhaps through lingering injuries from their past encounter or through new actions not yet revealed, the legal case against him could strengthen. For instance, if Kenneth's disfigurement led to complications that contributed to his death, Martin could face charges such as manslaughter. Alternatively, if evidence suggests Martin sought out Kenneth to ensure his silence, the charges could escalate to murder. The narrative, however, thrives on ambiguity. Beyond the Gates excels at keeping viewers guessing, and the show's writers are unlikely to provide easy answers. Bill, the detective, is a wild card in this equation. His decision to show Martin the photo of Kenneth's body suggests he suspects a connection, but his motivations remain unclear. Is he a friend warning Martin of impending danger, or a lawman building a case? The show's pacing suggests that Bill's role will be pivotal, and his investigation could uncover evidence that ties Martin to both deaths. The moral quandary: justice or vengeance? Beyond the legal ramifications, Beyond the Gates poses deeper moral questions. Martin's actions, while rooted in a desire to protect his grandfather, carry the weight of irreversible consequences. The death of Kenneth's brother was not premeditated, but it was final. The disfigurement of Kenneth, though perhaps unintentional in its severity, marked him as a living reminder of Martin's capacity for violence. Now, with Kenneth dead, Martin must confront not only the possibility of legal consequences but also the moral burden of his past. The show's exploration of race adds another layer of complexity. Kenneth's use of racist language was not just a personal attack but a reflection of systemic prejudice, a force that Martin and Vernon have likely faced throughout their lives. The confrontation on that lonely road was not just a clash of individuals but a collision of histories, where personal survival intersects with societal injustice. Martin's actions, while extreme, can be seen as a response to a world that has often denied him and his loved ones dignity and safety. Yet, the show challenges viewers to consider whether this context justifies the outcome or merely complicates it. The narrative stakes: what's next for Martin? As Beyond the Gates unfolds, the question of Martin's fate remains tantalizingly open. The show's writers have a knack for subverting expectations, and it's possible that Kenneth's death will lead to a twist that shifts the focus away from Martin's culpability. Perhaps Kenneth's death was unrelated to the past encounter. A heart attack, an accident, or the work of another enemy. Alternatively, the show could lean into the tragedy, with Martin facing arrest and a trial that forces him to confront his actions publicly. The relationship between Martin and Smitty will likely play a crucial role in the narrative's resolution. Smitty's support could be Martin's anchor, helping him navigate the legal and emotional fallout. Alternatively, the strain of this secret could test their marriage, adding a personal cost to the public consequences. The show has already hinted at Martin's internal struggle, his sleepless nights, his haunted expression, and these elements suggest that, regardless of legal outcomes, Martin's journey will be one of reckoning. The broader context, Beyond the Gates as a mirror to society beyond the gates, is more than a crime drama. It's a reflection of the complexities of justice, race, and morality in a world where the past is never truly past. Martin's story resonates because it captures the tension between survival and accountability, between the instinct to protect and the consequences of violence. The show's willingness to tackle these themes head-on, without offering simplistic resolutions, is what makes it so compelling. The question of whether Martin will be arrested is not just about his individual fate but about the broader systems at play. Will the legal system, often skewed against men like Martin, judge him fairly? Will the truth of that night on the road, context, intent, and all, be heard? Or will Martin become another casualty of a world that punishes those who fight back against injustice? Conclusion. A story unfinished as of now, Beyond the Gates has left viewers on the edge of their seats, with Martin's fate hanging in the balance. The show's masterful blend of suspense, character development, and social commentary ensures that the question of his arrest is not easily answered. Whether Martin faces handcuffs or finds redemption, his story is a powerful exploration of the human cost of violence and the elusive nature of justice. The photograph of Kenneth's body, Martin's anguished confession, and the specter of that night 2 years ago all point to a narrative that is far from resolved. As viewers, we are left to ponder, will Martin's past catch up with him, or will he find a way to move beyond the gates of his own guilt? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV soap news and spoilers for more updates on Beyond the Gates.